Okay, everyone. Here's an excerpt from volume one of my book back in the day. So over the summer between ninth and 10th grades, some of the boys had growth spurts. A couple of them even grew hair on their face and that resembled beards or a reasonable facsimile thereof. I always wanted a nice goatee in high school, but it wasn't in the genes. When I joined the Air Force at 21 years old, I still hadn't been able to grow a beard or a mustache. Just prior to graduating from basic training, we were allowed to go into downtown San Antonio, Texas. We had to wear our uniforms, so we decided to go get some portraits done. The photographer said he could take my picture and draw a mustache, which would look real. I can't remember what happened to the picture, but if it turns up before I finish this book, I'll be sure to include it. Yeah, right. I managed to grow a real mustache later in my career, but my first goatee didn't come or arrive until I retired from the military 21 and a half years later in November of 96. During my military career, beards were not allowed unless you had a note from a dermatologist indicating that you were being treated for severe razor bumps. And even then, the beard could not extend more than a quarter of an inch in bulk. We were allowed to wear mustaches, however, but they could not extend past the corners of our mouth or over the top of one's lip. The military regulated everything except how many times a day you were allowed to pass gas. This too would have been regulated had they been able to detect who the infamous perpetrators were of the silent but deadly ones. After the military, I grew a goatee which hasn't been shaved off even once in the past 15 years. As for farting, unfortunately, my wife has implemented a zero tolerance policy that has to be observed at home and in public. Violation of this regulation results in 30 days latrine duty. That means cleaning toilets. And as much as I love passing gas, latrine duty makes me ill, and I really don't believe this punishment fits the crime. Nevertheless, I empathize with her for not wanting to be on the receiving end of secondhand gas. I still manage to set off a few air pockets once in a while, but I always manage to deploy them while in the vicinity of our two dogs. That way I can blame it on one of them. My wife considers them both highly favored and exempt from any punitive action under the zero tolerance policy.